Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Sunday, August 28th, 2016 at, as you can see, 14:18 in the afternoon Eastern Time. I've got some time before I do my Sunday Skype with Tony Pincham in the UK. So I thought I'd tell you a story about a massive load of BUMF that happened at church today. Yeah, I went this week. I had to go. I was reading, and I would have gone in any case to the 8 o'clock service. I was reading at the 8 o'clock service. Now, as you know, where I have mentioned in the past, we have this. We have an interim rector, some sort of traveling fireman that goes about putting out institutional fires at churches. Not nearly as useful as a real fireman would be, unless he's the arsonist. And there's a certain incidence of firemen who are arsonists. Not high, but we had one in Lebanon a few years back. Well, where I grew up. In fact, he was the father of a good buddy of mine. Who knows where Joe's mind will travel when he gets reminiscing. Anyway, to focus on today's BUMF. The diocese has this program called recasting. Apparently it's like a 1.5-year program, and for some reason they say it takes a lot of money, and they only have the money to have it for 8 churches. Out of, I don't know, we have about, somewhere between 40 and 50 churches in the diocese, I think. But it's all of Southern Ohio. It goes from Steubenville over to just north of Dayton. So apparently, that's considered a fair amount. Plus, there's some more that are already in this. They're in this interim search for a new rector process, et cetera, et cetera. They're in the navel gazing phase. Where are we going with our parish? Give me a break. I haven't said that for a while. That felt pretty good. So let's run through some of the BUMF, and then I'll add and digress along the way. Recasting, and then he goes off of he starts off with a definition. This is part of this guy's sermon today. No, we didn't talk about the gospel. We talked about this crap. Oh, I thought we were in church rather than some sort of committee meeting. Recasting, maintain building, reframing, communication. All right. This is an open, transparent. Now they immediately then start talking about process, because process is everything with these guys. It's screw the results. Then the outcome sort of matters, but it's not the end of the journey that matters. It's the traveling toward it, which sometimes is true. Sometimes it's true. I don't think so in this kind of a setting, but I've gone through this three other fucking times before, so I think I can actually start having some opinions about this. Sometimes we need a fresh perspective. Well, yes. Frank. No last name, of course. Now, we're in the era of no last names. Frank, the consultant that was present on August 4th, is a part of the consulting team. Frank came to evaluate our church. Well, good for him. And give us a fresh perspective. So Frank came in one day on August 4th, which was, by the way, a Thursday. So that meant he might have talked with some of the people in the Bible study group. Not a bad group of people to talk with, by the way. Frank will provide us with a report of his findings. That almost sounds like some sort of, jury deliberation, doesn't it? or FBI investigation. Frank Bureau of Investigation. Frank will provide us with a report of his findings. Each team has been assigned a coach. Notice, coach in highlight, and emphasized letters from the consultants, and 2 liaisons from the diocese. COCL, Innovating Church, whatever the fuck that means. That's a mystery. Each congregation participating in this process will have a different outcome. Almost sounds like one of those double-blind drug studies where, one half of the people are going to get screwed and the other half are going to get the drug. And you don't really know which half's going to get screwed, hence the point of the study, which, enhances its validity in the end. But still, half of them get screwed. Would you volunteer for that kind of a study? Wouldn't you want to have some say over what is stuck into your body? In the following months, we will going through a process. Interestingly, not highlighted in bold black. A process. And provided with tools. Also not highlighted. The recasting team, give me a fucking break, will attend 7 meetings over the next 18 months. Well, now wait a minute. That's less than one every two. That's about one every 2.5 months. Now, sort of in the real world, you kind of want to get things done quicker than that. Now, I've worked with some really slow surgeons, but I was always able to do more than 7 cases in 18 months. The first meeting will be held September 9th and 10th. Going to have a bit of a layabout before they get to work. Well, he may have been exhausted after his findings on August 4th. The first team meeting will be information gathering. I thought that's what Frank had already done. Will lead to goals. Well, it's kind of nice to have. I was always relatively goal-directed when I was, having to actually be effective. Focus on why call together. Well, because we didn't have any fucking say in the matter. The diocese just said we're going to do it. We already had asked somebody who'd already been at the church if she was willing to stay, and she said yes. We could have avoided all this. On the other hand, she ended up where she really wanted to be anyway, so good for her. Can't say a bad word about her. She was excellent. Yeah. And then, other things they're focusing on. Why are we struggling? I don't think we are or were. We are now. It's one of these self-fulfilling prophecies. Faith-based. Do you mean that, there are actually some people in our church who, unlike the bulk of the U.S. Episcopal Church hierarchy, actually believe? Maybe that's what disturbs them. What is practical and what is driving parish? Well, now that does, there need to be some articles, indefinite articles in there to make that statement clear. What is driving a parish? What is a driving parish? What is the main problem or main force driving this parish? What? That's a functionally illiterate phrase. On August 4th, 24 parishioners attending the meeting attended. See, oh wait a minute, attending? No, you meant to say attended, since it's not being used as a participial phrase. Attended the meeting on recasting. Well, nice of you to tell us about it, guys. I didn't get an email or anything. Not that I would have gone. I've done this shit 3 times before. I'm not going to waste my time on that anymore. But it would be nice to be, told. Like I was singing the other day. It's nice to be kissed, etc. Frank explained the growth and downward trend of a church. He created a graph showing the start of a church leveling off and downward trends. Here's the graph. If you can force yourself to look at it, just, focus on this little slope in here, right in there. Then he asked people attending to mark an X where they felt our church was. At. Oh. Where they felt our church was at. That still always grates on me when people end a sentence with a preposition. There are sometimes it's just flat out unavoidable. The fully literate usage is to mark an X at the point where they felt our church was. I can be such a prick about English usage sometimes. But yet I am not one of these language fascists like, they're a lot worse than me out there, trust me. Everyone that marked that graph, graphed, they really meant graph, but graphed. I guess proofreading isn't one of the goals for our recasting. Felt the church was in a downward trend. It is necessary for the congregation to, in quotes now, get on board. This guy used to be a naval officer, too. I bet his men were glad to see the back of him. I bet he made them stand at attention and talk to them for hours on end just to hear himself fucking talk. It'd be worse than anything I do on YouTube, I'll tell you that. There will be scheduled parish meetings, and at these, which those are really kind of hard to avoid. And at these meetings, the team, I know, there's one woman I know is going to have special t-shirts printed up. I just know it. She's done it in the past. She's a real piece of work. She's one of these professional Episcopalians. You know, I mean, that's all she does. Church committee work. At all levels. Parish, deanery. Well, they've abolished the deaneries. Diocesan level. There will be scheduled parish meetings. Okay, right. And at these meetings, no S, the team will show, and of course one of my favorite verbs, share information. Thank you for sharing that. Or sometimes no even direct object. Thank you for sharing. Using it as an intransitive verb. Communication. Oh, also, here's another one of our bold ones there. Communication is very important in this process. Through this process, the church will receive the tools and process. Oh, but not answers. Oh, so you are kind of looking for some sort of substantive result. That was kind of well hidden. I could have blown right over that. We as a congregation need to come up with the answers. Oh, and here, of course, remember, see that in bold, parentheses, the recasting team cannot do it alone. There is hope if we respect each other and work together. We can make a difference. There is hope. If we respect each other and work together, we can make a difference. In the direction of St. Peter. We need to set goals of parish. I mean, goals of the parish. Parish goals. Goals of parish. I wonder if this guy uses English as a second language. I know he doesn't. He was born in Wisconsin. His family's Norwegian and, like third generation Norwegian. They've learned English plenty good by now. Plenty well by now. We are in need of people to agree to work on the team. Oh, so the real point of this is he wants warm bodies to participate in the BUMF Fest. Okay, now, why didn't he just say in the first sentence, we need warm bodies to participate in a giant BUMF Fest? Just be honest. Those of you who like to sit around and waste your time on pointless bullshit, come on board. We need your help We need your help for St. Peter's to grow again. That's also kind of awkward, but I'm going to let that one slide. But my word, he went I'm, you know, on and on and on and on and on, and I, I, I mean, you've seen how my eyes, respond. I have always had a really hard time controlling my facial expressions when I'm confronted with just pointless, idiotic bullshit. I mean, that's something I really don't tolerate very well. Although in my line of work, I had to tolerate a lot of it. Fortunately, I could cover half my face with a mask. But then my eyes always gave me away. I'm going to let that one slide and right now, because it's going to be Tony time here. I can tell you all about the state of the. I was finally able to get up there through the construction zone today, actually on the way to church. It's passable, but I damn near tore my front end off coming back. So not that passable. But at least I got to see. They actually have iron sewer pipe up there. Iron force main sewer pipe way up there. So they are going to reposition that force main, but presumably it's going to be up there somewhere. So that's not going to affect me. Pray to God. Another thing here, it's relevant because I've mentioned it the last two videos. Here is David Dermaid, not David, that's terrible. Dermaid McCullough, his new book, All Things Made New, The Reformation and Its Legacy, and it's just recently published by Oxford University Press this year, 2016. It's a group of collected extended essays that he's delivered. Well, he's published other places, updated, added more extensive notes, to which he's added more extensive notes, and it's fascinating. I mean, I lay there and read that for almost 4 hours the other night. And then later on, I woke up after about 2 or 3 hours and I read it for about another 3 hours till Paul left for work at 8 in the morning. I actually woke up at 3 this morning and laid in there and read it for 2 hours after reading it for 2 hours last night. So for those of you who are interested in English church history, and I am a lot, I highly recommend it. I recommend anything this guy writes. Anything Dermaid McCullough writes. But if you read nothing else, read his biography of Thomas Cranmer. If you read nothing else of his. And like a lot of his stuff, it helps if you had a certain amount of background knowledge of this when you do. But, stop it. I'm beset. So on that note, I'm going to say bye-bye, YouTube.